My second cruise, second hot seat. Last year when I came, I was a wreck, a real wreck, crying here, and I'm smiling now. I want to say thank you. It gave me a big shift, like I understand everything. The person before me, he actually said all the questions I had. So, I'm receiving it, but I'm not sure if it's my inner being.
Well, that's what he just said. This is the thing. As we talk to you about this process, you were source energy before you came into this physical body, and then you came into this physical body, flat, and then here you are, sifting and sorting, no, we don't want knowing what you don't want. The creative vortex, vibrational reality. Here's this vibrational reality, and law of attraction, responding to vibrational reality. Your inner being's in this vibrational reality, and so everything's right there. And so here you are, and so then just sit to meditate, and then you tune in, and you get in the receptive mode, and then what's in the vortex can come over here where you are, right? Everybody, we're all right there. So now you're in the receiving mode. Sometimes you're in the receiving mode. So now that you understand what the receiving mode is, we talk all day, every day about how this all works. But until you have, for sure, brought yourself into the receptive mode and for sure have an experience where you know you are receiving, then watch the manifestations as a result of this impulse that you received. Until that happens to you, then these are just words and you really don't know. You're just hoping, you might be trying. So if we were standing in any of your physical shoes, we would meditate every day. We would quiet our mind, and in quieting our mind we would allow our vibration to become vibrationally synced with that of our inner being, so that when those thoughts come, we know for sure that we are in the receptive mode. The thing that trips you up is that through your life experience, you have long believed that if you were ever to become enlightened, which you think is unlikely, if you ever were to become enlightened, because so often those who are stand out and say about themselves how rare they really are, and so you don't really expect yourself to become enlightened. You don't really expect yourself to be one of those special ones who's in the receptive mode. And you really do think that if you should accidentally get into the receptive mode, that really important information will be given to you. It should be solemn. There should be harps playing in the background, and you should be receiving things that are of great importance. And so when Esther comes out of meditation and what she receives is an impulse to move furniture around, some might say that's not very enlightened. Who's she tapping into? But the feeling of wanting to do that led her to an internet search, which led her to some moving men, which led her to a conversation that was exactly what this young man was looking for and what Esther was wanting to offer. So if we could just convince you that you are physical. Oh wait, you already know that. If we could just convince you that it's good that you are physical, that you are physical beings on the leading edge of thought, that you are physical extensions of source energy, and that manifestations are as spiritual as it gets, so that you could then allow some of the what you have formerly thought were not such spiritual thoughts. You know how you can tell that you're in the receiving mode? This is the surest way to know. And many of you will relate to this because it happens to you on a really regular basis. So you have put yourself into your quiet spot, or not so quiet spot, where you're meditating. And you've focused upon something that is not very interesting. Here, if we were meditating in this room, or if Esther were, she would listen to, hear that? Pick any sound from this room. There are a number of them. Esther likes that sound, that sort of loudest dominant sound, the steadiest sound in the room. She doesn't pick the chirping birds, they're too erratic. She would pick the constant, the sound that is the constant, and just focus upon it. So once you do that for a little while, seconds or maybe minutes, you hear it? Your mind stops offering its own vibration, which means you stop, or nearly so, it's close enough to say you do, the vibration of your own mind, your human mind, and you allow your inner being, your counterpart mind, to be dominant within you for that time, which means the vibration of your physical apparatus, which means every cell, which means the cells of your brain, the cells of your gizzard, the cells of all of you rise to the frequency of your inner being, so that there's an alignment there, and then a thought will occur. Now, here's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what the thought is, but it is a wonderful distinction if you can know for sure that you were in that thoughtless space before you received the thought. Because if you can accomplish a thoughtless space for a little while and then receive a thought, trust that that thought is a thought that your inner being is thinking that you are receiving. Now you got to know this. Your inner being knows where you are vibrationally at all times, and knows where you want to be at all times, and knows where you are in relationship to everything you want at all times. So your inner being is offering a thought to you that is the path of least resistance thought for you. And while you might want it to be book material, or you might want it to be an invention that has never been present on your planet before, and eventually it can be that, but at first, your first receiving thoughts, or your thoughts that are the most beneficial to you, are from where you are. What thought could you receive that would lead you in the fastest way to something that is important to you? And so rather than judging the importance of the thought, evaluate when the thought dropped into your mind. Was my mind busy and active when I got the thought? If it was, it didn't come from source. It was just a continuation of your busy active mind. You following that? But if your mind was quiet and a thought dropped in, then bask in the deliciousness of that thought and stay there with it for the 15 or 20 minutes that you still have left in your sitting. And it may very well be that that thought will evolve into something more and something more and something more, or maybe another thought will drop in and another. But show yourself what receiving feels like. Don't take anyone's word for it. Show yourself that you are a receiver. Show yourself that you can be a receiver. And then you reach the place or the point in your vibrational aptitude where you don't have to meditate to get there. You can just get happy and get there. You can be driving and get there. In other words, you're in the receiving mode a good deal of the time. Haven't you been with someone when you really get rolling? A group of you around a table having such fun. Everyone's tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and here it comes, 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 here it comes. Boom, 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 boom. We're on fire, you say. We are so tuned in to well-being, and our inner being isn't trying to get us to change the world. Our inner being is just guiding us through the most pleasant dinner that has ever been eaten, you see.
This is what is happening. I'm always getting proof from the universe, from my inner being, that I am manifesting. Everything is good. Everything is the way I like it. It is happening. People I'm meeting, they're guiding me to the right path.
Hold that, don't lose it. But we want the proof to be, the satisfaction is the proof. Because proof, until there is that manifestation that you're wanting. But there's plenty of satisfaction, which is proof, satisfaction, which is proof, satisfaction, which is proof, satisfaction, which is proof, before there is the manifestation, the car in the garage or the what. Yeah.
Yes, I love that all.
So
there I have this fear.
Well, stop it. Because the fear, what is the fear? When you say I have this fear, what you're actually saying is sometimes I'm really not in the receiving mode. Sometimes my own conscious thoughts are so in the way that I am not letting it in.
That I will take it away myself, that I'm on this path.
Well, you might, but so what? So what? Aren't you going to allow yourself plenty of step ones? If you don't know what you don't want, how are you going to know what you do want?
I like step 5. I don't like step 1.
Well, then we have nothing for you.
No.
Because the entire universe is established. In other words, if you're asking no questions, you're having no expansion. If you're never in step 1, and we know step 5 is better because then you're not upset when you're in step 1. But when there is doubt, that means, and it happens to everyone, it will happen through most of your life. You see, you've thought so many thoughts, and it's a good thing, not a bad thing, because Consider this. You get it that when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and that those rockets of desires, those transmissions of vibration, are what have created this vibrational reality that is the source of all that you are now receiving. Did you follow that? And do you know that? So as the contrast occurs, that's where the beginning of all of your creation comes from, which means if you don't allow yourself contrast and those moments of knowing what you don't want, you don't allow your evolution. The evolution of all that is, the expansion and evolution of every species is about that. You've got to be all right with that. All that fear means, and especially the kind of fear that you're talking about, all that fear means is that you in this moment aren't in sync with the thought that your inner being is having about this same thing that you're thinking about. It's just guidance. That's all it is. It's just guidance. In other words, do you feel afraid right now as you're visiting with us?
No, not at all. So beautiful.
Can you feel our appreciation for you and our love for you?
Yes.
And yet we're guiding you. This guidance is coming through your ear rather than through your solar plexus. But if you weren't hearing these words, you might be feeling the emotion that what we know and what you are thinking are creating. But is it possible that you might accept that the very fear that doesn't feel so good is because of the love that is being offered that you are presently denying? That's what fear always means. You are currently, presently denying
because
love.
I'm doubting. How can why is so much love for me? Why? Am I deserving? Why am I thinking that? This is what I want to get a clarification.
Well, we can't convince you with words. You've got to show yourself through alignment.
Which I do it often.
Yeah. We can offer the words all day long.
It's so beautiful.
This is something that you have to let in. Love is something that you receive. It's not something you contemplate. It's not something you orchestrate. It's not something that you dictate. It's not something that you demand. It's something that you let in. It's something that is always present and always being offered to you, that you can let in or not. And when you don't, it doesn't feel good. That's all. It doesn't mean it's not present. It means you're not letting it in. And so when you beat up on yourself by saying, oh, I'm denying myself this love, that just holds you apart from it further. Instead say, oh, this is an indication that I'm denying this love. I think I'll take a nap. I think I'll stop rampaging on this subject that has enough momentum that it's carrying me into a vibration that isn't allowing me to receive the love that is always being offered to me.
But see, this is what I noticed, what my pattern was, because when I feel so much love, I start pushing even people away from me when they're like showing me their love, their appreciation.
We're not talking about what others are offering.
This fear gets me.
We're not talking about other humans bringing it to you. So maybe we're talking about two different things. We're talking about you coming into alignment and feeling the wholeness of who you are. But humans often, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. And so there might be someone, here it is. If a person coming towards you is in alignment with who they are, and they are inspired through their alignment, their impulse is to move in the direction of you. If you are in alignment, you will not feel like pushing them away. But there are a lot of people moving towards you who are not in alignment with who they are. Much of the world is acting not from alignment, but from action, acting out of lack. And so don't call it fear, call it guidance. Call it, this is not in alignment with me. You're not rejecting them, you're just not meshing with them. And the reason you're not meshing with them is because they're not meshable. You could say to them, I want to love you, you're just weird vibrationally right now, go away.
Well, I walk away, actually, that's what I do.
Well, we are being playful with you, but you see what we are getting at.
Yes, I get it.
So
my appreciation, I would like to have a rampage.
Soon enough. You're very demanding.
Should I give this for extra love from India?
Yes,